Howdy, friends, and welcome to a great episode that I think you're really going to enjoy. Today is a bonus episode, meaning we're going to explore Roaring River State Park Campground, as we usually do, and also see part 2 of my ongoing fly fishing on a river in a wheelchair series. Let's see where we're headed. Roaring River State Park is located in southwest Missouri, and it's a very popular park located just about 8 miles south of Cassville, Missouri. It's about 60 miles west of Branson and 40 miles east of Bentonville, Arkansas. The park itself spans over 4,000 acres and was established in 1928 when the land was donated by a St. Louis businessman. One of the most interesting things about the Roaring River is it is a first magnitude spring, meaning it produces an average of 20.4 million gallons of water daily. That's pretty impressive for the 20th largest spring in Missouri. All of this cold, clear water flows into this beautiful river valley that is home to a lot of beautiful rainbow trout and lush hardwood trees. One of the things you don't want to miss is the trout hatchery, which is operated by the Missouri Department of Conservation since 1910. Make sure you take yourself and your kids and go up and see all of the thousands of trout that they have in various tanks that are easily accessible to the public. The trout look like they are boiling in some of the holding tanks. The hatchery releases over 200,000 trout a year into the river, and they grow to some very healthy sizes. There are 3 distinct fishing zones in the 1.7 miles of river within the park. And here is a quick view of the zones, which you will definitely want to be aware of if you plan on fishing. The park also has 7 hiking trails ranging from very short walks to a path that leads to some stunning overlooks. The Fire Tower Trail provides scenic views on an old fire tower, while the Deer Leap Trail is a beautiful overlook of the hatchery and the river below. If you are planning on spending the night, there is a full-service lodge and cabins available. If you're planning on camping, there are 3 campsite loops with electricity and water is available at multiple spots noted on the maps. There's also a day use area, playgrounds, and a swimming pool in the summer, which makes this a very family-friendly destination. I brought my son and his family, and we fished most of the day on a very cool spring day with my grandkids. Before we get started on our campground review, I wanted to go ahead and introduce our video bonus feature, Fly Fishing on a River in a Wheelchair, episode number 2. One of the most beautiful things about this park is the accessibility along the river. It is paved up near the hatchery, and then some downstream, you'll see some beautiful concrete paths and then some paved platforms that jut out into the river, making it accessible by a wheelchair user. Some of the other paths that you'll find are flat, hard-packed dirt and gravel and could be easily accessed if you had a portable electric chair or maybe a track chair. I use my Portable Mobility Ranger Quattro Pro to easily get up and down the river so that I could read the water for the perfect cast. I have to stop and brag about some of the fishermen in this area. Came down to this fishing platform that was concrete and was needing a little space to throw my fly line, and before I could say a thing, the fisherman next to me said, "Sir, this is all yours." And he moved downstream about 20 feet, so I was able to fish upstream and then trail a fly downstream as well. I fished way past when my arm got tired. I did catch one 8 to 9 inch rainbow, so I counted that as a good day. My only mistake was not heading to Tim's Fly Shop just north of the park to see what kind of flies were working best. I came to the park to produce this video for you and was just able to sneak in some fishing. Make sure you get your trout tag and wear it visibly as you fish this beautiful area, and be sure to check out the fishing license requirements on the Missouri State website. I had a great day as I watched my son, daughter-in-law, and my 2 grandkids fish and have fun. We did watch a man with a baby on his back come fish the hole at the waterfall where we were fishing, and after 4 or 5 attempts, he pulled out a nice 16 to 18 inch rainbow. There are multiple access points if you are in a wheelchair to come out and enjoy an afternoon or several days of fishing, and it's one of the few areas in the country that provides this type of accessibility. If you didn't see my first episode of fly fishing on a river in a wheelchair, it was my trip to Hartselle, Colorado, and the Hart area constructed on a beautiful Colorado stream. You may want to check for it in my Adventure Experiences playlist on my YouTube channel. Well, now it's back to regularly scheduled programming where we take a look at the campgrounds available here. Unlike a lot of parks that may not even have a map, this area had a bunch of maps. There's a map on the campgrounds, there's a color-coded map of the electrical features, and there are maps of the river with the various fly fishing zones in the park. I put together a campground worksheet, as usual, that combines a lot of the information at a glance as you look to book the perfect site for you, so be sure to check it out in the link above or in the description of this video. On that worksheet, I note the driveway type, the terrain information, utilities, shade, and any other tips or warnings you need to be aware of on each and every campsite. Let's begin our tour of campground number 1, which has 77 sites. We'll be going through site by site, looking at each individual campsite in 4K video, and you can see that it is just a long road that snakes down through the river valley. The map legend is great, showing which sites are electric, family double sites, and where the water faucets are located. Most of the sites were flat enough to be wheelchair accessible, and there are 3 concrete ADA sites in this loop. The first ADA site is site number 5, and you can see the extensive concrete paving so that the wheelchair user could get to the picnic table and to the fire pit. Some of the sites had covered picnic tables and others didn't. And again, you can double check the campground worksheet to see which ones have which. Most of the campground sites in Campground 1 were just average campsites. Some had a little bit more shade than others, which I've noted on my worksheet. Site number 13 was a nice asphalt paved pull-through. It was flat, but the picnic and actual camping area was rather small. Here you can see an accessible bathroom, and they've actually put the wheelchair accessible parking up on the pavement next to it so that you would have easier access to the bathroom. That was a nice feature if you do have mobility issues. Beginning around campsite number 25, the river does start to run behind the campground, and each campsite along there are a little bit closer than others. Site number 33 was the second ADA campsite that I found in this campground loop. One of the things you'll notice in this campground is there are family sites, which are basically just two campsites right next to each other. So if you're coming with friends or family, you're basically camping right next to each other, which is great. Site number 61 is the third ADA site in this loop, and you can see that it is a little cramped in here. I felt like sites number 71 and 72 were two great sites since they were very large and had a lot of shade. Next is campground number 2 with 38 sites, and they all have electricity. Once again, I've included both types of maps, and I found one with a great legend showing you which ones have electricity and which ones are wheelchair accessible and where the water features are. And the second map, again, adds color coding for your 30 and 50 amp electrical service. As with campground number 1, most of the sites in this loop are accessible with 2 ADA accessible campsites. I didn't find any spectacular sites in this loop, but they are all good to average campsites, and you can look for yourself as we go through the loop number 2. Campsites 78 through 93 all backed up to the mountain, so it does limit the size of the campsite. Sites 98 and 99 kind of stuck out in the open by themselves. Not a lot of trees or anything around them. Site number 102 is the first ADA site in this loop, and you can see it is fairly large with a lot of open space around it. Here is a great view of the river. Sites 104 through 107 are pretty basic sites and just out in the middle of the campground area. Site 108 was a pretty rustic site with just a concrete driveway and no real gravel over to the picnic or fire pit. Site number 109 was right on the curve, and you did have the road on two sides of it, but you can see it's a very wide concrete pad going back to the paved area to the picnic and fire pit. I really liked that site a lot, as your neighbors weren't too close and you just had to deal with a little bit of road noise during the day. It was a very good ADA accessible site. Site number 115 was another rustic site, and then site 117 was the only site I saw with a gravel driveway instead of asphalt or concrete. So just be aware of that. Next, we're heading to our last campground, which is campground number 3. Let's take a quick look at our maps. You can see the layout and the electrical service for each of the campsites. There are 67 campsites in this loop, with the accessibility factor going to about 40% versus the high percentage in the other 2 loops. This was mainly due to pavement not reaching to the picnic table or the fire pit, or maybe grass or some hills or elevation changes that I felt didn't make them very accessible. Here is an accessible parking area with a paved concrete path that goes back to the river. And there's also a little fishing pier out at the very corner, easy access to fish in a wheelchair. Site 122 is our first ADA site in this loop. And you can see they've added a concrete area next to the asphalt pad and then concreted the fire pit and picnic area. So it's a very nice site. It's also the same for ADA site number 123. Beginning around site number 125, you'll see there's some slope areas up to the picnic tables and then no concrete or asphalt to get there, so you'd have to be traveling over grass. Anything with a hill or elevation, I'm declaring is not accessible for wheelchair use or maybe somebody with a walker or mobility issues. Site number 134 is a nice site as you have a little bit of cushion from your neighbors. However, it does have the highway right behind it. If you're looking for peace and quiet, this may not be the spot for you. Site number 136 starts the campsites that back up to the river. Sites 144 and 145, you can see have long driveways. They're not very accessible, but they do back up against the river and are some great sites. As we approached the site number 155 and beyond, the area was closed off, and I'm not sure if they're doing renovation or what, but there was no access to those sites. I did, however, go ahead and video most of the area, just showing you what it looks like currently, and maybe they'll be upgrading this area in the future. Well, friends, I hope you've enjoyed this tour of this fantastic campground. Roaring Rivers is a great place for families to go for a day trip, to picnic and fish, or camp for an extended period of time and catch your daily limit of these beautiful rainbow trout. I hope you were able to find a campsite that fits your particular needs, and I was very happy to bring you episode 2 of Fly Fishing on a River in a Wheelchair. There are more spots in the United States, and I have plans to bring more episodes on that topic in the near future. So stay tuned and be sure to like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of the great campgrounds and content that I provide. Until next time, so long.